man who leaked U.S. intelligence on Israel's attack on Iran is arrested, and I give you the deets. Then I bring a hammer down on legacy media outlet The Guardian for being so morally bankrupt. Then we go back 49 years since the Amityville Horror murders, and then nothing like a 4-year-old girl taking her very first steps in life. All here on The Bullet today, so let's do it. The mainstream news is so corrupt.
This is unbelievable.
This is wild.
No one is talking about this.
The shootings are just out of control right now.
If you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you do read it, you're misinformed.
Asif William Rahman, and no, not the soup, has been arrested by the FBI in Cambodia this week as he is accused of leaking classified information on Israel's planned attack on Iran. Prior to their attack, Rahman was indicted last week in Virginia and faces charges under the Espionage Act, and although faces a lengthy prison sentence, should be facing a far harsher penalty given that this is a clear act of treason. Israel did end up conducting the military operation using ballistic missiles on Iran in late October, although it's unclear how much of an effect the leak had on those attacks, or if Israel changed course after the leak. It is widely known, however, that Israel had stopped supplying information to the United States regarding their potential military operations after the initial leak. It's obvious this leak was to help the country of Iran, which is one of the most openly hostile countries towards the United States in the entire world. Leaking this information would only benefit them, and this arrest only brings more questions than it does answers at this point. Number one, what is an Iran sympathizer doing working for either the CIA or the FBI? In order to have access to this material, this man would have needed security clearances and a high level of trust given to him by the United States government, who so obviously got this wrong. Also, what's he doing in Cambodia? Why was he arrested in Cambodia, especially in a country that does not have an extradition treaty with the United States? This case went from a simple who leaked the information out to what the hell is really going on very quickly. And we all know the real truth, especially if you've ever seen someone get caught doing something they weren't supposed to be doing in the first place. It's for sure not the first time. It's just that this is the only time they've been caught. So backtracking now, how long has he been leaking information out to Iran and other enemies of the United States? Who in particular did he give these documents to, and what did they do with them? I think Asif, the FBI, the CIA, and the government in general have a lot of questions they need to answer. Robert Hansen, for example, probably who is the most damaging spy against the U.S. in our history, spied for Russia in the United States starting in the Cold War from 1979 and through 2001, all while being an active FBI agent at the time. Hansen leaked the identities of U.S. spies who were actively working in Russia at the time on the U.S.'s behalf, and he gave that information directly to Russia themselves, resulting in dozens of U.S. spies being executed by the Russians. Hansen was eventually arrested years later and served a life sentence over in the ADX Supermax facility prison in Colorado, where he died just last year. These cases of spying and treason actually just get worse and worse the further you dig back and realize what information these people had access to. And I think that depending on Asif's longevity working with the government and his ability to realize something is up and flee to Cambodia before he was technically wanted worldwide, we could see something similar and maybe just as damaging here. Now, a big ol' and first time combining these is I mix here with a thumbs up and a thumbs down as we head over to Britain to give both.
Thumbs up, average Joes can play.
A major thumbs down here to The Guardian, which is the London news outlet that was established way back in 1821, as they say, and I'm quoting here, will no longer post content on X, formerly Twitter, due to the disturbing content and toxic media platform that X has become. Now, citing the recent U.S. election as the final straw for deciding to no longer post on X, The Guardian also said The US presidential election campaign served only to underline what we have considered for a long time, that X is a toxic platform and its owner, Elon Musk, has been able to use its influence to shape political discourse. Now, The Guardian, a very much left-leaning newspaper to say the least, is right on one thing. X is very toxic. As the years have progressed, the platform is by far the most toxic, stress-inducing, emotional, comatizing platform that exists in the digital world today. It's become a beacon for expressing those horrendous and hurtful subconscious thoughts we all used to keep to ourselves, but now excitingly shared to the world directly, which truly has no positive value. If you ever wondered what the equivalent of a dark, nasty, and dangerous inner city alley would look like in the digital world, you found it with X, formerly Twitter. Now, thumbs up to The Guardian for leaving on that note in particular. However, I give them just as an intense thumbs down here for the reasons they've also cited. The Guardian citing Elon Musk's influence to help shape political discourse as a reason they've left. Apparently, the only standard The Guardian has is a double standard, as I need to file a missing persons report for The Guardian during Jack Dorsey's tenure while owning Twitter, when he literally allowed the US government to have direct access to Twitter's users' information and messaging cache to influence elections. Twitter was basically sleeping with the government, allowing the platform to become a weapon by the government to censor its political enemies, all while Jack Dorsey helped them do it. And while coming full circle here, The Guardian was more than happy making 5 to 10 posts a day on the platform at the time. So you can't have it both ways here. And just another example of why I say in my intro that the mainstream news is so corrupt. Now, sometimes we don't know or realize how quickly time has passed, which is why I bring to you this day in history.
Which specifies the unconditional surrender of Japan.
The president has been shot.
This day, 49 years ago, the Amityville Horror murders took place in the quiet neighborhood in Long Island. Robert DeFeo Jr., an avid LSD user, was at a bar telling other patrons that his whole family was killed in his house. Bar guests followed him back to his house and called police, who found the entire family shot in their beds throughout the house. DeFeo Jr. confessed to the killings the following day and insisted that voices in the house told him to commit the murders. The legend of the Amityville house being haunted, which would lead to multiple movies being made of the house, was actually all a hoax created by George and Kathy Lutz, who were the owners who moved into the house right after the DeFeo murders. They admittingly looked to capitalize on the tragedy and claimed that they had demonic experiences in the house with slime running down the wall, which was all untrue, which had helped lead to the involvement of Hollywood creating some movies. Now, being sentenced to 6 consecutive sentences of 25 years in prison, DeFeo lost all of his appeals and died back in March of 2021 at the age of 69. In the maximum security prison of Sullivan Correctional Facility in Fallsburg, New York. Now, a lot of times covering the news can get nasty. You're talking about a lot of bad things. So every show, I am certain to bring you some good news here. So good news, here we go.
Bringing out the fire, bringing on the lightning, 'cause I'm looking for a hero. Look inside the mirror, I found one. Oh, carry the hurt when it gets too hard. Pick it up, dust it off, and I fall down 11, I get up 12.
Over to Tucson, Arizona now, as 4-year-old Scotty May took her very first steps after being told by doctors that she would never be able to walk again, defying expectations. Scotty was diagnosed with Angelman syndrome, which is a rare genetic condition that will severely cause physical and learning disabilities. Scotty's parents were told by doctors that she would never be able to walk, talk, read, or live independently. It's experiencing seizures at just 10 months old. Her parents knew something was wrong. Here's the video as you can hear her sisters screaming with joy as she takes her very first steps, already defying odds.
I'm starting it. Scotty! Scotty's starting. I'm recording right now.
The daily news podcast, The Bullock, is out Tuesday through Thursday at 5 p.m. I will be back here tomorrow evening with another episode of The Bullock for your world news stories, and I will see you then.
News and factual material are deeply researched through confirming the validity of multiple sources by the broader media landscape across the global sector and the digital world. All statements are a combination of primary and secondary research components geared towards providing the only news show in video and podcast form that provides a clear understanding of important world issues that are being left out by the completely biased and politically driven global media machine. Thank you for listening.